Hi there. This is Lisa Wilcox, Alice Johnson from the Nightmare on Elm Street series, and you're listening to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review Podcast. Have fun.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode.
Welcome back to Don't Go Out There. We're going to change things up a little bit tonight as Nico is taking PTO without the P, and we brought a jersey down from the rafters to suit up for a game. Welcome back, Brian.
Thank you. I got 2 words. I'm back. That's all it takes.
Nice. I got that facts. Tonight's movie review, this is going to be for longtime friend of the show, Eric. As we're recording this, today is Eric's birthday, so happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Since Nico wasn't able to record this week, we decided that we're going to move our scheduled picks back a week. And tonight we're going to do a movie from Eric's favorite franchise, A Nightmare on Elm Street. We're taking on Part 5, The Dream Child. I'll kick us off with my general thoughts. I think it sucks, point blank. I've been vocal about how I'm not really a fan of the franchise in general. I think Freddy is a much better character than the franchise has movies.
Yeah.
But this one is definitely bottom 2 in the franchise, if not the worst that the Krugerverse has to offer. So I'll just keep it short and sweet. Brian, what are your opening thoughts?
All right. Well, mine's not going to be short and sweet. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. Let's do this. Let's set the stage a little bit here, okay? Because it's 1989. For me, 4 years before I would get into horror. Mike and Dustin would say I was 25 years old. But nay, I was 6. This was the year of my first theater movie I do remember, which was 1989 Batman. But anyway, this was like peak Freddy mania, I believe, around this time. Like Freddy's Nightmares, the TV series, had just come out with England. I don't know if we've ever mentioned this on the show, but we interviewed Robert Englund, don'tgoouthere.com. Just throwing that out there. For that matter, Lisa Wilcox as well. But who I've heard, by the way, is now very hard to get as an interview and charges money now. So anyway, so thank you, Lisa, for giving us that shot way back when. But anyway, Freddy had an NES game that had just come out, a PC game. And I don't know if anyone knows anything about the rap group, the Fat Boys, but Englund as Freddy was on one of their tracks as well. So around this time. So, I mean, part of me understands them wanting to make Freddy a little bit more jokey to be marketable. I mean, they fucked up the Batman franchise. You know that because of the same reason in the early 90s. So, I mean, it's a little crazy how much kids stuff was out there at this time, marketing a supposed child murderer, if we're looking back. I mean, to be honest, like, right? It's kind of crazy. But, I mean, let's be honest. New Line fucked New Line here with this oversaturation. That was a Bret Hart reference too, by the way. And also, to be fair as well, director Stephen Hopkins, who was 28 at the time, was kind of an ass fucked by New Line. He was given like 6 months from the first day of shooting to the day of release and only 4 weeks of total shooting time. I mean, but hey, it paid off, right? He got Predator 2, which is also dog shit.
Yeah.
And the last thing, and I'll shut up. Like I've said before, this was my least favorite rendition of the Burn fucker. I mean, Jokey Freddy, you mentioned it, but I do understand a lot of people's favorite. And if he is, I'm sorry, I'll do my best to just not shit on the movie the whole time. But I'm pretty sure that this is my least favorite entry of the series. Mike made a comment about having to rewatch Freddy's Dead, and I jokingly said, those words in that sentence should never be uttered together again. As we all kind of agree, that one is dog shit. But I still say it gave us Freddy's Dead. I mean, some of the best Fred Krueger pre-Demon Dead parts of the series, which is small, but redeeming quality of that, where I'm not sure this entry has much redeeming quality at all. I'm sorry, Lisa. I'm sorry, friend of the show, Eric. I hate this one too.
Yeah. It's funny you said that your first theater experience was Batman 1989. That got me to thinking, I remember the first 3 movies, but I couldn't remember which one came out first. So the first 3 movies that I can remember going to see were Aladdin, 1992.
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 3,
oh, shit.
1993.
Okay.
And D2, Mighty Ducks, 1994.
Nice.
So I had to look up to see those years because I couldn't remember which one came out first. I was a small child, obviously, but I do remember going to the theater for all of those.
I remember Aladdin because we took a friend from school to go see Aladdin. But I think the earliest 2 that I can recall are Batman 89 and Star Trek 6. And that came out in 92. 89, 92. I'm sure I went to the theater with my parents at some point in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
The last thing, speaking of the theater, going back to the New Line thing earlier, I saw an early promotion of this movie with a pregnant Freddy on the front of the poster. That's what we're doing here with this movie.
Yeah. That's crazy. Mike, you got any opening thoughts?
First of all, Eric, appreciate you being a massive fan of the show, and every weekend and week out, kind of being our biggest fan online. So really appreciate it. And first of all, happy birthday, and second of all, fuck you, man. This movie sucks so bad. It makes me wish we hadn't done all the other ones up to this point, because this is just a steaming pile, man. It is not good. Now, I kind of put it in our group chat earlier this week. I don't know if I like this one more or less than Freddy's Dead or not. Now, I need to rewatch Freddy's Dead. I don't want to, but I know at some point we're going to have to finish out the franchise. So, that being said, this is down there really close to the bottom, man. This is a steaming pile of garbage. How anyone has this ranked above the remake is beyond me. I won't ever understand that. That one is significantly better. I mean, there's a few little bright spots. I think some of the ideas are okay, but it's so convoluted and so over the top. I mean, the shark doesn't just get jumped over. It's freaking, it's bombed out and depleted, man. It is just not good. But, I'm sure we're going to have a fun time kind of talking about it here on the show. So that's, that tends to be how it works. Bad movies end up producing good episodes. So I appreciate you, Eric.
All right. Well, I'm going to be doing the scene by scene tonight, so if no one else has anything, we'll just get the ball rolling. Lord, bear me strength. We get our opening credits done in a blue chalk font with some brief intimate shots of bodies doing the deed in a blue tent mixed in. Tent, T-I-N-T. And it turns out it's Alice and Dan from the previous installment. Alice hops in the shower afterwards, and some doo-doo water starts bubbling up from the drain. So naturally, Alice sticks her hand in it. Nasty. The water pressure intensifies, the shower knob breaks off, and suddenly she's drowning. She breaks out of the shower, and she's in a creepy asylum basement completely naked until she isn't. She's suddenly wearing a nun's outfit, surrounded by crazies, and her name tag says Amanda Krueger. The doors close, and as the crazies grab her, she wakes up. Her relief is temporary, though, as an unscarred Freddy is in bed next to her, but she snaps out of it. She hesitantly turns the shower on in real life, and we cut to a graduation ceremony. Alice chit-chats with her friends Greta, Mark, and Yvonne. That's a French-ass name, Yvonne, if you know, you know. and they make plans to party, and the parents are obnoxiously written in this scene. Dan surprises her with plane tickets to Paris, but she's bummed out about not seeing her dad at graduation. But he surprises her from behind a tree. After group pictures, Alice heads to work and hears some kids singing Freddy's song on the way. Suddenly, it's nighttime, and she follows some girls to the steps of the asylum, where she follows a nun to the door. Guess she fell asleep after telling her dad goodbye in the middle of public in the afternoon. That's the opening. What you think?
Okay, right off the bat with his credits, I don't love Jay Ferguson's score. Like, it doesn't feel creepy. I don't know how you felt about it, but I mean, especially with this cut in like flashes of this PG-13 sex scene going on, the whole intro this is out of left field here, but it reminds me of the 1993 movie Sliver, which I watched at a sleepover way too young. Shout out Josh Trahan and Santa Villa. Anyway, according to the director's commentary, Lisa Wilcox, had a body double here. And to be honest, I don't really know why. Like, you don't see anything anyway. But credit goes to Kristen Dante for that. And she would only have 5 other movie credits through 1993 for her entire career. But also shout out to the water looking like how you mentioned, how I imagine Dustin's shower looked after Mike shit himself on the porch and then had to take a shower. But yeah, I agree. I'll say, who in their right mind would put their hands in the drain anyway, much less into shit water? Like, that's ridiculous. It's crazy. But woo, okay. Amanda getting raped by 100 maniacs. That kind of that reminds me. Did y'all know that Bonnie Blue was pregnant? That that'll date the show. But if you get that one, you get that one. My God, I'll just say it here at the graduation scene, and I know it applies. Just know that when I say this, it applies to the entire movie. The dialogue is terrible. The entire movie. Writers John Skip, Craig Spector, and especially Leslie Bohem. Bohem? I don't know. Mostly Bohem because he wrote the screenplay. And God almighty, this is bad work. To quote Danish in Ghostbusters 2, this job you're doing, I want you to know it's bad. It's very bad. Now, we don't meet that many new friends here in this little group, thankfully. And you might ask, Brian, is that because that we don't see many deaths in this installment? Well, I'm glad you asked. No, you do not.
Man, even this cold open with the credits, it's kind of cheeks. I mean, what is this blue hue over the sexy time happening? And we don't get any nudity, thanks a lot, in PAA. The water bubbling up from this tub here looks like a Florida lake. Looks absolutely disgusting. Admittedly, drowning in the shower, kind of a cool kill that ends up not being a kill, but okay. This is so ridiculous, though. This is Robert Englund out of costume at a rave or something in Freddy's Den. Like, what is going on? And there's a nun here, and I know it ends up being Amanda Kruger, but what is this nun doing? It's so weird what we're already getting into. And, at some point, if I were Alice, I may just give up. Sleep is too important. I don't have to keep staying awake with all this stuff. It is a good time of year to pick this film because it's high school graduation season, and we get that here. Also remembers how much I hated that, like, post-graduation, everyone wants to take a picture with you time. Hated it. If I were Alice, I'd have hopped on that plane with Dan and got out of there. That's what I would have done. Last thing, Mayor, I'm already bored as hell. This is going to be a long ride. I am not looking forward to it.
Alice enters the asylum and walks around a while until she sees a stroller roll past the doorway. She continues her exploration until she's suddenly on a gurney being pushed through the halls. She's taken into a room where she's surrounded by doctors and nurses, and suddenly she's not on the gurney. She's watching as a woman named Amanda gives birth to a deformed baby who a nun drops on the floor. She should be fired. The baby skedaddles, and Alice is now alone in the empty, blood-covered room. She exits and is now in the church where Freddy was beaten in part 4. She finds the baby, who lets out a scream that shatters the windows and causes the floor to open up, and Freddy is reincarnated. Freddy drags his knife fingers along a wall and lets out a laugh before saying, "It's a boy." A nun enters and tells him his birth was a curse on humanity, and she tells Alice she must be released from her earthly prison and to look for her. Alice is at work now, and it's a slow night. Oh, and Alice is 4 hours late. Employee of the month, I tell you. We cut to her friends having a pool party, and they talk about their parental problems. A random guy cuts his hand on the world's most fragile beer bottle. That's all. Just had to mention it because it was absurd.
Absolutely.
It does establish, though, that Mark is extremely squeamish around blood. Dan gets a call from Alice telling him about Freddy and that he can now affect her even when she's not dreaming. And Dan rushes to her. And Mark calls him the fastest man on 3 legs. Yeah, he said that. Dan's radio starts going haywire, and a seatbelt wraps around him, causing him to wreck. Another reason why I rarely wear a seatbelt. Freddy is in the truck with him now, and he pours champagne everywhere and causes Dan to wreck. He's back at the pool now, and the phone's ringing. He can't get to it, so he rushes out and hops on a motorcycle. He's hauling ass when the bike's wiring starts attacking him and infusing itself within him. Alice gets a jump scare at the diner from a body falling in a pit behind her and runs outside to see the aftermath of Dan's fiery crash. The fire is blazing, and Dan's body comes alive, and Freddy's voice asks her if she wants to make babies, understandably causing her to faint.
Can you imagine? It's hard to hear those words coming out of your mouth in some of this stuff. and much less in a Freddy movie. You would just never think. I mean, the robot motorcycle? Come on.
Yeah.
As we open up here in the asylum, Hopkins mentions that he wanted to include more gothic imagery in this installment. Hopkins said he was inspired indirectly by The Labyrinth, a movie I've personally never seen. I don't know if you've seen that.
You've never seen Labyrinth?
I haven't.
Dude, there's
David Bowie, right? And Connolly,
Jennifer Connelly.
No,
dude, there's a funny scene where Jennifer Connelly is walking through the labyrinth, the maze, and like on this brick wall, there's a little caterpillar, and the caterpillar talks.
Like from Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah, kind of, but it's literally like like it's bigger than a normal caterpillar, but it's small. Still fit in your hand.
It's not smoking.
And the caterpillar goes, "Hello," and she says, "Did you say hello?" And the caterpillar goes, "No, I said hello." The funny thing about that is I have a friend, his name's Chris, and one year at a Halloween party, he took a cardboard box and painted it like a brick wall and wore it on his front side, cut a hole in it, put his penis through it, painted it like a caterpillar, and had it on a little string.
My God,
and
dude.
Dangled it and kept walking around the party going, "Hello."
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God.
Yep. I never thought in 1,000 years I would tell that story on this podcast, but there you go.
Oh my God. And I should have known, but I had no idea where that was going. And I was like, oh, this is just, a nice little story. And then the penis came out.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's a scene straight from an A24 movie.
What? No shit. Well, and plus it's 80, so I know Nico hasn't seen it. He hasn't seen
that's
Shrek.
true.
We'll bring that up again.
Don't bring that up. He's not here.
Anyway, we get another incredibly badly written scene of dialogue where Amanda has to explain the whole plot of why she's there to Freddy, and he finishes with, "We'll see, bitch." That's your fucking mother, watch your goddamn language, Freddy. Gosh, crazy. Anyway, let's also talk about in 23 minutes and 21 seconds in, where we have my man here drinking out of a Dixie cup with clearly nothing in it. I do have to bring it up. It's the worst, and you brought it up, the worst looking bottle smash ever with that random pool kid cutting her hand. Come on. This truck scene here, though, kind of reminds me of Heather's husband's death in New Nightmare. Can't remember his name right off the bat, but very similar. But once again, I think the music here is terrible. Terrible. And while the truck scene's entertaining, I mean, I was laughing because it cuts to show the outside of the truck swerving, and there's cars in literally both lanes already, like waiting for him to swerve one way or the other. How do you not catch that in editing? It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, even if you did only have 4 weeks, but the rest of this, I was just ready to get to the next group of scenes, man, because now how fucking long was Dan asleep at the wheel? Because Jesus, we had his truck being taken over, crashing into the school, grabbing a motorcycle, then turning that into the robot creature effects that we brought up. I think the effects team wasted way too much money on that because it looks like shit, and they could have just used that money elsewhere in the movie. But anyway, that was like 10 minutes of real time. His truck drove straight for 10 minutes, and then with someone asleep at the wheel before it finally crashed into the, I mean, come on. Also, in the diner, when Alice drops the coffee and has that vision of Dan, kind of looks like he's falling down a gigantic ass colon, doesn't it? I mean, ass colon's kind of probably redundant. Probably just a colon would work, but I don't know. Yeah. I wanted to put an ass in there. Fun fact, when Alice wakes up from her nightmare in the asylum and one of the deranged Weston Hills patients, which was Robert Englund anyway, appears by her bed, pins her down. Originally, he actually said, "There's no such thing as safe sex." And the line was cut. Man, whatever. Fuck you, MPAA.
Yeah, it's weird that like they cut that.
Yeah.
But some of the other stuff, they're like, it's okay.
Crazy.
I don't know. And also during that scene when she's at the asylum, I think, is this the first time that the older movies reference Freddy being a child molester? Did you catch that on one of those newspaper clippings? Like it was brief, but I saw the words child molester, and I didn't rewind it to pause it because
I think so, because I know I don't know they do, but I think it's implied.
Yeah, it's
in Freddy's Dead for sure when they show that old Fred Krueger stuff that I liked actually, because that was when Robert Englund was pushing to have that prequel with just Fred Krueger. But again, it would have probably been good. He'd probably done great, and it would probably been one of the better Nightmare on Elm Street movies. But who wants to just see, a dude before he's Freddy killing kids? It's a little dark.
It was definitely heavily implied that he was a child molester, but that's the first time that I can remember it being said or shown on print. And it may not have even been talking about Freddy, but it'd be weird to include just a random news article that said those words if it wasn't about Freddy. Like I said, I didn't pause it to read all the words. I just saw those 2 words. Anyway.
Now, Alice, why would you want to go into this building? I can't think of a dumber idea. All right, I'm going to say something nice. In a different movie, this operation pregnancy scene on a gurney would actually be really good. It's not good in this movie, but I feel like there's a really good way to shoot that with everybody kind of standing around her. She's having a flipping out moment. We get a demon spawn baby. There's a good way to do that scene. This movie chose to not do that. Same thing with this stuff in the church. In a better movie, I feel like this would have worked, but the effects on that baby are ass. Now, I appreciate the practical effects for sure, but they just don't look good. Speaking of not looking good, Freddy looks like crap, man. Like they started to cut corners and money on the makeup for Freddy, and you can tell it's 100%. He looks like bubblegum, and we've just jumped the shark with this. It's a boy. Like it is just really, God, I can't take it serious, and I'm not laughing. So like in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, you get a little bit of both. He's scary, but it's funny in the way that like I can still be scared of this dude. I'm not scared of this dude. He looks like a pack of gum. It's awful. We were too poor to have a swimming pool at our school, by the way. So good on them for having what is a massive swim facility at this school, I'm assuming. We just have more nameless and faceless characters kind of talking here to me. I know we end up learning their names, but if you know anything about this show and me, I'm probably going to not learn them or I'll forget them. Last thing here, Freddy taking over this truck, I thought is a good idea. It looks okay, but it's just constant one-liners, and then it turns into like a motorcycle scene or something. Just goes on way too long. It drags, and I'm ready to get on down the road with this, man.
Alice wakes up at the hospital and is consoled by Yvonne, who tells her Dan's been in an accident. Alice says it was no dream, it was Krueger. Either way, Dan is dead. She starts flipping out on everyone, but the doctor tells her she's going to be just fine, and Yvonne lets her know that she's just a little pregnant. She stays overnight for observation, and she gets a visitor. It's a little boy named Jacob. Jacob offers condolences for Dan, and Alice is confused how he knows. We cut to Greta for no real reason at all, and then back to Alice with Yvonne. Alice talks about Jacob, but Yvonne says there's no little boys on her floor. With all her friends now, Alice gives a TED talk about Amanda Krueger and Freddy, and they look less than enthused. They'd rather talk about pregnancy or Dan, or in Mark's case, Doodle's little comic book drawings. They assure Alice that they've got her back, and we cut to Alice at home as her dad brings groceries in. At Greta's house, there's an obnoxiously bad dinner party scene, and I hated every moment of it. But Freddy shows up and serves her a baby doll on a platter and feeds her with his knife fingers. Back at Alice's, the food in the refrigerator all molds, and Greta pops out the door. Alice tries to save her, but Freddy pulls her back, and in reality, Greta choked to death at the dinner party. Oh, and Alice's food isn't moldy anymore. All right. Alice and Yvonne go to visit Mark, and there's some pretty bad dialogue, but Mark believes Alice about Freddy. Yvonne splits to go to work, but Alice stays with Mark. More bad dialogue follows, including Mark wishing we were more like his fictional comic book character. He wants to know more about Freddy, so Yvonne says she'll make some coffee because there's a lot to tell.
Ugh. Well, we wake up in the hospital, and unfortunately, no, it's not just a dream. We really are watching Nightmare 5, Alice. But thankfully, thanks a lot, Eric, but thankfully we get some awesome dialogue that says, Dan's dead, and you're just a little pregnant. All right. Sweet. But hey, we do get the kid that plays the Jacob is smart ass kid from the opening of Jurassic Park, Whit Hertford. Also, fun fact: I invited Whit Hertford on the show way back when we did that movie, and he sent us an intro for the show to use. The best part of this movie, Whit Hertford, good times anyway. Big fuck up here around 40 minutes when Freddy puts the first spoon of goo into Greta's mouth. You can clearly see her spit it out. Yet in the next shot, her mouth's already full. And the second time Freddy puts something in her mouth, sounds way dirtier than a minute. But the amount of color changes from the close-up of Freddy to the close-up of Greta. So I don't know. Did you expect better? Sorry, I did. This is my least favorite death. I hate it. I hate it, the Greta death. Backing up a touch, though, I also did find it funny that we're almost a decade into these movies. And Elm Street deaths, for that matter. And we still have to get a Cliff Notes explanation to the people who live in the town about who Freddy Krueger is. I mean, you'd think he'd have a reputation by now. Fucking loser. Which, speaking of, I'm going to go back here to bashing the screenwriter, because coming up with the idea for unborn babies dreaming being an excuse to why Freddy can get Alice while she's awake is actually not a bad idea in theory, but execution, I don't know. She got pregnant like a few days ago. We saw it. So the few days old fetus is dreaming. Like what? Why couldn't we just open the movie with her being a few months pregnant and solve that whole thing? I mean, I don't know. I guess because you wouldn't get your 1990s sliver opening with your PG-13 sex scene that was not even good.
Well, the doctor did say that the baby was large, so maybe it's her germination cycle is shorter. She's like a cow. I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, the rest of this is set of scenes with Mark and Alice. If you're watching, just skip it because it's awful. It's awful dialogue, awful writing. You don't need to see it. It's terrible.
Dan has been in an accident. Yeah, no shit, man. He was in like 2 dream accidents. At some point, one of those affected him along the way. And how are we in a second movie where no one believes Alice? Like, make that make sense for me. It's a big plot hole throughout the rest of the film. Like, she already has the proof of Freddy's existence from Nightmare 4. Like, what is this? This kid, Jacob, that we come to find out is creepy. I don't know how there wasn't Jacob climbing up a ladder. It's right there. The pun is there if you wanted to take it. Well done by the kid, though. It is creepy, that's for sure. And when we get more to Freddy's backstory, man, I feel like we already know this. We know about his mom. Like, we know how Freddy was born. So, like, just more lore for lore's sake I don't necessarily need. We get a nice group hug of everyone that's literally about to die on screen in the next 20 minutes. And I did learn woman's name here, Greta. All right. And this creepy Hollywood agent tells her she has a nice body for modeling. That was kind of creepy. I mean, she just graduated high school, but okay. Dinner scene is fucking gross. Like, it's not scary. It's not fun. It's disgusting. Like, I don't want to watch Freddy Krueger stuff this girl's face full of food. It just doesn't make any sense. And neither does the refrigerator being a portal of some kind where you can check in on dreams. I don't know what they got going on here. And I also don't get why Yvonne is being an ass. Like, tell me why she doesn't believe. Like, if I'm going to believe anybody about what's going down, it will be Alice. Just saying. Shout out to Headbangers Ball being on TV. Also, shout out to coffee not ever working. So why do we keep thinking that's going to keep us awake? Hadn't invented anything stronger yet.
You know, it's funny about Whitby Hertford. I guess he now goes by Whit Flint. I was looking him up. I would like to talk to him, like if he would come on, because talk about a wild filmography.
I tried to get him. I tried.
He also he worked on Batman the Animated Series, which is widely regarded as one of the best animated shows ever. But he was also a dancer in Pharrell's Happy Video. What? That's crazy.
I did not know that. That's some range. Get you somebody that has range like that. I tried, and he did send us an intro, but I never got past that.
We appreciate that. All right. After apparently hand grounding the coffee beans, Alice is finally back with the cups of Joe, and I say that because Mark is having a little tiger snooze now. She's mortified to see that he's also in his comic walking into the Elm Street house. So she draws a very detailed picture of herself so she can join him. And by very detailed, I mean a little stick figure with her name over it. She walks into the house with ease, showing the boards on the door were purely cosmetic, and she hears Mark call out for help. She sees him hanging on for dear life in a pit to hell in the living room and helps him up. I had a Terrifier, 3 flashback there when I saw that pit to hell in the living room. Yuck.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But anyway, when she helps him up, he faints when he sees a little blood on his hands. Pussy. We used to go to war. Jacob appears in the living room, and he tells Alice that he's been having bad dreams. He says his friend with the funny hand told him Alice doesn't like him and runs upstairs. Alice follows, and now she's back at Mark's. She tells Mark Freddie is trying to hurt her baby, Jacob. Mark tells her to go to Yvonne and go to the doctor while he tries to gather information on Freddie. Yvonne still doesn't believe her, but it's ultrasound time. She dozes off on the table and has a very strange dream about the baby in her womb, and Freddie calls the baby his boy. Yvonne takes Alice home when she wakes up, and Alice continues her efforts to convince Yvonne that Freddie is real. Mark joins the party and has Alice's back, but Yvonne still doesn't believe and leaves. Alice tells Mark Freddie's using her baby's dreams, so he suggests an abortion. Okay, logical step. She says she wants to keep him and looks at some of the research that Mark gathered when she recognizes a nun. I think this is actually where I saw that newspaper clipping about the child molester. Anyway, her dad calls for her to come downstairs where Dan's parents are and asks what she plans to do with the baby and offers to adopt it. She declines, and Mr. Jordan says the doctor called him and told her she's delusional. HIPAA violation much?
Right.
Alice and Mark head back to his place and talk some more about the nun. He says since she killed herself, her soul is in torment, trapped in her earthly resting place. Apparently that was a perfect bedtime story, as Alice climbs a ladder to get into bed, OSHA hazard, and asks him to watch her sleep.
Jesus. I don't have much on this mic, just giving you a heads up. But, all right, pay attention here, guys, because I want to say something nice. I'm glad that we get to go back to 1428 Elm Street in Mark's dream here, at least. Although, I mean, did we not have pictures of the old sets? Because even the outside didn't look right. But hey, whatever. At least they get to go back. Fun fact, all of Mark's drawings were supposed to come alive during his death scene, but it was too long and they cut that down, apparently. So I thought that might have been some cool effects. But
yeah, they should have cut that motorcycle crap, some of that motorcycle crap you were talking about, and left that in or added that.
Exactly. None of these deaths really do it for me. We'll talk about that at the end. Listen, can we do something? Can we do something here? Can we take a second and give a round of applause for Alice's dad? Because of all the shitty parents, of all the main characters in this entire franchise, he's the only one that's done better. He's a recovering alcoholic here, very supportive of Alice, especially after learning she's pregnant. Bravo, Alice's dad. Just bravo.
Yeah. Give it up.
Well, exactly. But fuck me to tears, this whole baby stuff, the entire subplots here, they're all trying to be something that this movie is just not. It's not a Lifetime original afternoon special. It's a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I mean, know your audience here, guys.
Explain to me how Mark passed out so fast. Like, he just fell asleep with the quickness, and this drawing stuff that looks like the Aha Take On Me music video was like a decade too late. I know he's a comic book guy, so we'll touch on that later. But this Jacob kid, I may have to consider axing him just in case at this point. Time to take some preventative measures if you're Alice. It's definitely not going to be a good time here. And still don't understand Yvonne not believing her. Yet again, she's actually more adamant this time. Alice has a baby inside of her. Whose baby is that? Who's the man that did that to you? Gator's bitches better be using Jimmy's. Okay. Shout out to the other guys. A significantly better film. Like I mentioned earlier, they had not come out with pre-workout yet, and it shows. Because that would have helped everyone stay awake and not crash as hard. I mean, last thing I really have here, even if there was nothing wrong with Alice, giving the baby to the grandparents, not a bad idea. Just saying. That's all I had.
Yvonne gets in her locker at the pool, and turns out she missed practice and won't give an explanation. But she's ready to get some laps in now that everyone else is gone. She gets in the hot tub first and immediately dozes off. We've all been there. We cut to Alice running through the asylum looking for Amanda, and Mark is not doing a good job watching her. Yvonne continues her training, and Freddie is lurking. The diving platform turns into a cage trying to surround her, and she falls into the pool, which turns into a small puddle. Alice finds herself in a flooded room, and Freddie floats up with Yvonne. Alice jabs a pipe through his mouth, no diddy, and her and Yvonne make an escape because Freddy is afraid to follow due to Amanda. Alice says they may have to find Amanda, Alice says they have to find Amanda, and we cut back to Mark, who finds a Freddy comic book. He gets sucked into the comic, and everything is in black and white, except for Mark as he runs from a skateboarding Freddy. Freddy taunts Mark with a porcelain doll that's supposed to be Greta, and Mark spawns guns in a costume as he goes after the Fredster in an incredibly hokey scene. Freddy slices and dices a paper version of Mark, which causes him to lose all his color, and he's dead in real life. Alice and Yvonne wake up, and the EMTs take Mark away. Alice tells Yvonne to find Amanda, and her dad takes her home. Yvonne heads to the asylum, as Alice wastes no time getting back to sleep. I mean, geez. Yvonne somehow spots a black piece of rebar that was buried under leaves, and Alice looks for Freddy in Dreamland. Yvonne uses the rebar to bust through a brick wall, and Alice rams that stroller from earlier into Freddy's back and rams him down the stairs like Brock Lesnar did Zach Gowen in 2003. Freddy's in a room with all the crazies, and they rip him apart, literally. His limbs are detached, and they turn into spiders, which get on Alice, and she does a piss-poor job trying to stomp them. Didn't even come close. And the next set of scenes is the ending.
I can't believe you called that a hokey scene. That was cinema. I'm just kidding.
I'll talk more about it later.
I'm just fucking kidding. It was awful. Another thing I will say, I do like the comic art aspect of this. Like, not the fact that it's in the movie, but the effects and the way that it looks. I think that I said this way back in Dream Warriors even. Like, I want Boiler Room, scary effects, haunting Freddy, superheroes, dream powers, Freddy on a fucking skateboard and all this bullshit. Like, no, man, I'm good. I'm good on that. But the effects on the drawings, it kind of brought me back to that film Roger Rabbit, like the way that they interacted here. The props to Roger Rabbit being a great film, by the way. Robert Zemeckis, one of the goats.
Shout out to Jessica.
You know, fun fact: whenever I was a younger man, a younger 11 or 12-year-old kid, at one of our trips to Universal Studios, they had one of those, like, you know, back in the day, what was like really cool. You could like pose with somebody fake, and it was like they would insert them in there, and you'd pay $1 billion and get it. Yeah. Jessica Rabbit. I had it for, I don't know, 20 years probably, sitting on my shelf all through high school. Anyway.
Nice.
Yeah, great. Fun little tidbit about these spiders. According to Hopkins, they, quote, got lots of tarantulas, hand-painted them green and red, which I'm sure that wouldn't fly nowadays, and on the floor of the stage placed a little wall up the shape of an arm, had the trainers come in and place the tarantulas. The plan was simply to drop the wall and film the resulting scattering of the spiders. But after they got the shot, apparently they were left with a studio full of around 200 tarantulas. And Hopkins said, I quote, "We probably carried on shooting on another set. I don't think anyone ever found the tarantulas. As far as I know, those spiders roamed freely through the studio and escaped into the free world." That's nightmare fuel.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Because this movie, Nightmare Fuel, puts a different meaning to a Nightmare on Elm Street.
There you go.
Whew, this motherfucker's dragging, man. Now we're going back for a really long pool scene with Yvonne, who has no pity for me. She didn't even listen to a single thing anyone said. It's almost like she was asking to die here, to be honest. This diving board kill is ass juice, or scene. Holy shit. I guess it's not a kill. It's just, again, I'm repeating, but it's hard to take Freddy as scary because he's not. He's also too over the top to be funny. It's just the movie didn't really decide what it wanted to be. Just not enough of either one, not the right blend of both. So no one ever stays awake after being asked, by the way. Every single movie, it's like, hey, will you stay awake and watch me? Sure. Next thing you know, Mark's asleep. Come on, man. There's Freddy riding that skateboard as he goes to jump over that shark. Attaboy. I thought that Greta becoming the doll was kind of fun, you know, kind of splattering there. I thought that was fun. This comic book sequence is just awful for me, man. I would hate it even if I loved comic books. This super Freddy in black and white and this like superhero thing marks. I don't know what's going on, but it's bad. And, you know, her dad is a good dad, or her pronouns, pal, Alice. Her dad is a really good dad up to this point, but I need her to believe, Alice, or I need him to believe Alice, because if no one else is going to, he's the one that should be. But of course, we're going to take her home anyway. And then we get about 5 minutes of Alice walking around in dreamland, just yelling stuff. No thanks. They're just little spiders. Alice, let's do better. That's all I had. I'm freaking ready to get to the end.
All right, here's the ending. Alice hears Jacob giggling with Freddy, and Jacob calls Alice mommy. Freddy has put himself back together very quickly, and Alice tells Jacob to run from Freddy, who also disguises himself as Dan to try and trick Jacob. Jacob tells Alice that Freddy is hiding inside her, and when she calls him out, we get some gross mitosis-like split from him out of her, and then he kind of goes back into her to bust out, as Jacob watches on in horror. Meanwhile, Yvonne breaks through a wall and finds a bunch of birds and a decaying nun, who evaporates into Amanda and says, "Thank you before disappearing." Brief to the point. All right. Amanda appears where Freddy and Alice are fighting and tells Jacob only he can help. His face becomes all scarred like Freddy's, and he tells Freddy he wants to learn from him. Jacob gives Freddy a tongue lashing, literally, and all kinds of heads start emerging from Freddy's chest. Freddy reverts back to the demon baby from earlier, and Amanda just absorbed that motherfucker. Also, Alice found a baby and did the same. She picked up a crying newborn, and it just absorbed into her. The hell is happening here? Amanda tells Alice to leave, and Freddy's knife fingers poke their way out of her belly. Sometime later, Alice is with her dad, Yvonne, and the baby at the park when some jump roping girls are humming Freddy's song, and the movie ends, thank God.
What the hell is happening here might be the description that goes on this episode. Fun fact about the finale: at around an hour and 20 minutes, "School's out, Kruger," was our replacement line when our guy Whit, who's a minor, wasn't permitted to say "fuck you, Kruger." Well, I don't agree with that, because I've seen plenty of kids say "fuck you, Kruger." So if we ever get Whit on, or "fuck you," or say cuss words and all this shit throughout the years, look at The Exorcist, look at all this stuff some of these kids said. So I wanted to ask him about that, but we'll permit it here, because we are a professional podcasting service. So fuck you, Kruger. I thought the effects, man, with Freddy taking over Alice's face, I thought that was a great job. Like, I really thought that looked good. From what I could find, Howard Berger was in charge of the merge there in the effects department. Man has won an Oscar for Chronicles of Narnia, nominee for 2013's Hitchcock. Like, he knows what he's fucking doing. Oscars. But it's just a whatever ending, and I mean, you can tell they spent the budget on this finale, but that's honestly one of the issues that I've had with all the Nightmare movies. They just don't know how to end them, I feel like this one was the same way, really. It's just kind of lackluster. I did kind of like the callback to 2 as far as, forming inside of Alice and trying to re-enter the world through a person, like you did in 2. If I'm not mistaken, they actually pitched this for part 3, but Craven came in and nixed it for Dream Warriors. I guess they just kind of went back to the well here. And I mean, that makes sense to the callback to 2 if it was supposed to be the 3rd movie. So people have forgotten about it by now. I don't know. Fun fact, the laughter heard at the end, right before the credits roll, clip of Vincent Price laughing at the end of Michael Jackson's Thriller. Price's laughter is also sampled at the beginning of Cool Me D's Let's Go, which is played during the film's end credits, which, for me, as much as I've shit on this soundtrack, the ending song there was really good and catchy. I liked it. My favorite probably since part 3. But, that's really all I have.
Yeah, the song in the ending credits was the highlight of the movie.
Yeah.
That says a lot about the movie.
Agreed.
Now, her future kid, kind of a dummy. Who wants to be friends with this guy with the blade hand? Like, they would be making fun of his ass in school later. That's all I'm saying. And now we get Dan back, and it's just like this weird dream world / future world. What is this world that Freddy inhabits? I don't quite understand it. Freddy engulfing her face is, again, mostly just nasty. It's not scary. It's not creepy. It's just gross. And the effects are okay, but they just look nasty. And we get Amanda Kruger, kinda. We get this nut. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just exacerbated because I don't really understand what's going on, man. Anyway, they have Freddy who's supposed to be this all-knowing being, get tricked by a kid that's not even born yet. How is this kid outsmarting Freddy Krueger? I don't understand it. He's going outside, moment too big, pissed down his leg. More gross effects and a baby crying. That's the end. Thank the Lord. Hallelujah. And I would change that boy's name from Jacob, just in case. Again, more preventative measures from Alice is all I'm asking.
All right, let's get into our social media comments and questions. I've got X pulled up if you want to get the Book of Faces, and then I'll do Instagram. So over on Twitter, or as the newbies call it, X, Sean the Gleeman says, "This is definitely one of the movies of all time," which made me laugh.
One of the movies.
One of the movies of all time. And then he said, "It's at least better than Freddy's Dead." So we'll definitely talk about that as we have. We both think that, or we all think that these are pretty consensusly the worst two.
Right.
And it's really a matter of how recently I've seen which one as to which one I say worse. As of now, it's this one because it's fresh in my brain.
Agreed.
Randy Smith, Go Dogs, said, "My least favorite of all the Nightmare movies, minus the remakes. Yes, I like Freddy's Dead." I'm just going to pause.
Who said that?
Randy Smith.
Randy Smith. Go Dogs.
He said, "Yes, I like Freddy's Dead better because little me was taken to the theater to see it because my parents couldn't find a babysitter. Quote, best parents ever." So I can understand if that's the reason, because it's nostalgic. It's your first time getting to see a movie like that. Okay. Right. But as it stands alone, that movie is dog water. Anyway. And then last one on X, Andrew Ferguson said, "Alice reminds me of a girl in central Pennsylvania who can't decide if she wants to go full Amish or not."
Oh my God.
Which is funny.
That is very detailed.
All I could think about was Tropic Thunder. You never go full Amish.
Nice. Yes. We only have one on the Book of Faces. Michelle Mirza. "This movie is in no way a good movie, but I enjoy it for nostalgic reasons." Yeah, I mean, I get that. I do get that. The same with the way people like Jokey Freddy versus Dark Freddy. It's a nostalgic thing, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, speaking of nostalgia, I mean, I get it. I watched a movie yesterday that I hadn't seen in several years that, as a kid, I loved it. It's called Suburban Commando with Hulk Hogan, Christopher Lloyd, Shelley Duvall, and The Undertaker. As a kid, I loved it because I was a huge wrestling fan, I think, and it's a kid's movie. But watching it as an adult, man, that movie sucks. And so I gave it 2 stars on Letterboxd, and those 2 stars are sheerly because of nostalgia. So, anyway, switching over to Instagram now, we only had one. It's from MakeAnX2, who said, "The Dream Child is a guilty pleasure. The kills are great, particularly Greta's. Bon appetit. Dan's death is tragic, and Super Freddy is just Looney Tunes." All right, I mean, to each their own. That's fine. Guilty pleasure is better than just saying it's a downright good movie. I can respect that more. All right, you got any fun facts?
I've got 3. Do you want me to go ahead or?
Yeah, go for it. I've got a couple, and if you say them, I'll skip them.
All right. Special effects supervisor Alan Munro later mentioned that he believed that the biggest oversight of this movie may have been the limited body count. I mean, there's a lot of oversights, but if you had a lot of good kills, that might have made up for it. While the death scenes are creative, he thought the fans simply wanted more of them. But, I mean, they had a limited production time to allow it. I get that. One script idea was titled Freddy Rules. What? It had a coma-like vortex. Like, I mean, I don't know. A coma, somebody being in a coma the whole movie is that's kind of cool idea. I would like to maybe see that done right. I don't know.
Freddy Rules is funny, though. It makes me think of Hulk Hogan. What you gonna do, brother, when a Fredster runs wild on you?
Ooh, yeah. That was Macho Man, I think. The movie is awful, okay, but I do have a Steve Kelso screen-worn stunt mask used in filming of this movie. I got 20-something years ago. I don't want to hear anything about the money thing. I got it on eBay. This was 20-something years ago when eBay was first kind of kicking into gear. But I do have it sitting right up there. I can see
you know how much money you have to buy stuff from a movie that you hate? I mean, it's just like you just run out of things to buy. So you're like,
But I was just like, it's so cool. It even comes with like fake eyeballs for display, and like sometimes they go cross-eyed because you move it a little bit. It's crazy.
That is cool. All right, I got a couple here. Stephen King and Frank Miller were offered the chance to write and direct the movie. It's funny because like this movie is almost as incoherent as Maximum Overdrive, which Stephen King wrote and directed while he was high on coke.
Right.
And so I'm wondering if some similar activities were going on behind the scenes on this one.
I don't give a shit about people they asked and they said no. I want to know about the people that, like, you know, I guess that they offered, and, you know, any of them, like anybody that was in the running, like really in the running for it that they didn't choose other than what we got.
Yeah. I don't know. This one, I mean, we know this. The deaths were heavily neutered by the MPAA. They were supposed to be much more graphic, detailed, go on for longer, etc. Then the last one I've got is that Kelly Jo Minter, who played Yvonne, was also in The Lost Boys with Jamison Newlander, who was in Bone Tomahawk with David Arquette.
Nice.
So pretty
Friend
cool.
of the show. Friend of the show, Jamison Newlander.
Yeah, I wish we could say David Arquette was a friend of the show.
Tried.
Come on, brother.
I've tried. He did send you a birthday video, though.
That is true. Super cool. Mike, you got the budget? Oh, you forgot?
Yeah, I was going to say
okay.
no. Absolutely, he does not.
By the way, I forgot here. This movie was made for a cool $8 million at the time, and had grossed approximately $22 million. So I'm still or $22 million. I'm still trying to figure out how the hell we got a sequel after this movie only making $22 million. Even back then, that's insane.
All right, let's get into the kills and the ratings. I'll go first to kick us off. Favorite kill? Listen, the scene was hokey, but I'm going to go with Mark because I actually thought it was cool. Like you said, the animation stuff, that was cool. And then I like the concept of it. Like as his paper gets sliced, he loses his color and he turns to black and white. Like that, and then he got shredded and died. Like that was cool. It doesn't fit in what I want from Freddy, a Freddy movie, but it was cool. Least favorite kill, I don't know, man. There's only 3 to choose from. I'm gonna go with Greta. Really had nothing to do with anything, and the dinner party scene sucked. It really felt like Greta was only here to give us a kill. Like she had no role in the movie, didn't care about her, and then it was just shoehorned in, I felt like. As for my final thoughts on the rating, it's awful. The story makes no sense. Freddy's resurrection and Jacob's powers are not explained nearly enough, or explored nearly enough in Jacob's case. We only got 3 kills, and the ending is just really weak. I'm going to give it a, sorry, Eric, 1 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
So, Mike?
My favorite kill, I guess, or favorite scene, because I don't know if it's a kill, would be the woman giving birth. That was kind of creepy and well shot, I thought, out of everything in this movie. My least favorite, probably going to be the diving board. I just think it's so bad. And I know that Yvonne technically doesn't die, but it's pretty rotten, man. It's rotten to the core, just like this movie is. Eric, I'm very sorry. I know you love this franchise. I hope this isn't one of your faves or like some kind of sleeper movie for you. It doesn't really work for me, man. Like, I tried to be nice. I know I wasn't, so I apologize. But I just wanted to say, look, I don't mind living in this Freddy universe if the movie is good. But when the movie is bad, it's really bad. And that's no knock on Robert Englund. I'm sure he was just doing what he was directed. But the way they decide to take the character, how convoluted the story is, it's just not a very enjoyable watch. I tried to have fun with it. I'm hoping to have more fun with Freddy's Dead upon a rewatch. It's been about a decade since I've seen it. So it was also about a decade, even though I own this movie, since I've seen this one. And now I remember why I don't ever open this son of a bitch. I gave this movie a 2.5.
My least favorite kill was Greta as well. I just felt like that entire scene didn't even fit in the movie. I would not be shocked to hear if they threw that in at the last minute, but with the time constraints, they probably didn't even have time for reshoots. So it's terrible. The script was badly written. Not sorry. My favorite kill was Freddy, even that's a cheat, I know, because he didn't technically die. And I liked the effects with, that they used with Alice and shifting to Freddy's head or his face. You can just tell they spent all the budget on that last little bout there, the last little battle. I mean, hey, we've brought him back by pissing on bones in a junkyard before. So I mean, come on. But I'm not going to say a whole lot here. Just I've said this over and over again. At this point in the franchise, Freddy had been cheapened, in my opinion, and oversaturated, almost relegated to the role of a clown. And I don't love it. The writing here is just really bad, like I said, and the soundtrack didn't do it any favors. I gave it a 2.5.
Okay. So Nico couldn't join us tonight, but I'm going to go ahead and read his Letterboxd review. He wanted me to do that for you, Eric. He did watch the movie. He didn't want you to think that he was just skipping out on you. He just literally couldn't record. But he said, quote, "An awful film. Freddy Krueger, the character, is great, but so many of the Nightmare movies are just bad to awful. This movie has poor pacing, some terrible effects, and we didn't need backstory to the backstory. The crazy thing is, as bad as this is, Freddy's Dead might be even worse. I'll revisit this after I inevitably do a rewatch on that one. It does have a couple cool kills, though, and he gave it a 0.5 star on Letterboxd. That's out of 5, so I'm going to give him a 1 as well. All right, that gives us a rough composite score of a 1.75 for this one.
Damn.
IMDb, is it crack? Is it weed? 5.0, 5 out of 10.
Unbelievable.
It's not that good. Letterboxd 2.3 out of 5, so
damn,
roughly the same as IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes, I want you to, after I say this number, I want you to look up just all the Saw movies, the entire Saw franchise. There's not a single movie in that franchise that's worse than this one.
No, not one.
32% on Rotten Tomatoes. That means out of 100 people, 32 of them like this movie. How?
Yeah, that's crazy.
How?
That's crazy. I don't get it either. I don't get it either.
All
and
right.
I don't like when we all agree on the show. I mean, in most 99.9% of the time, we don't. Three of us might, but there's definitely one of us that is not going to. We have a very different movie opinions, but we all pretty much agree on this one being very bad.
Yeah. Well, as we're typing that or saying that, Nico just sent me his actual score. He said 1.5, so I'm gonna add that.
Okay.
0.5.
Live. Let's do it live.
We'll do it live. That puts us at a 1.875. So there you go, Eric. That's your birthday gift. We gave you an extra few tenths there.
You can round that up to 2 if you wanted to. Even. You can. It's crazy.
All right. I'm going to shout out our blood donors real quick, and then I'll announce my pick for next week. So blood donors, Nico says it every week, and it's my chance to tell you that we literally couldn't do this without you. You keep the lights on. It's not free. It's not cheap doing a podcast. And so we're very thankful for all you guys. Camper Level reoccurring, Nina, Michelle Mirza, Steve Schmidt, Anthony Andrews, Moochie, and Sean Irwin. Camp Counselor reoccurring, Edward Hernandez-Gunn, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer from the Too Close to Home pod, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, Max K, and Amanda Pettiford. Thank you so much for all your support. Continued. We truly mean that. Next week, we'll be back to the movies that we had planned, our regular picks, and it's my turn. See, I thought Nico was trying to get out of doing my pick. I thought that's what was going on, but when he suggested, no, let's just move them back a week, I was like, okay. So I picked last year's 2025's American Sweatshop. Never heard of it. I hadn't either when I saw it. I had no plans of picking this movie until Nico and I went to see. We watched Faces of Death and did an instant reaction review on that one. And I told him, and I said it on there, that movie is so similar to American Sweatshop. The premise is just so similar, and so I told Nico, I want to pick that movie just so you can watch it, just so you can see how similar they are. So Lily Reinhart is the lead. She's fantastic.
Do love her in Riverdale.
Yeah, eyes to yourself, bucko. But American Sweatshop is next week's pick. We should be back to Nico, and minus Brian, unless you want to join us, brother, you are more than welcome to. But
I believe I will be washing my hair and doing my makeup that day, but I appreciate the invite. I did enjoy coming back on and doing this.
Well, we've enjoyed having you here. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and putting up with me hosting. I know I'm not Nico. I'm not what you're used to, but hopefully I did a serviceable job. I know Nico's Tobby shoes are hard to fill. And hopefully I did it justice. Anyway, we'll be back. We'll be back next week here on Don't Go Out There.
Oh, my God, dude. Say goodnight to somebody.
Good night, Lily Reinhardt.
Just want to remind everybody.